5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome
to
LOUDSNACKERS podcast, episode 6.
Yes. No. Siete.
Episode 7. You guys. 7. What's up?
So I have a question for you, Eunice.
Oh, here we go. Going right in.
Yes. Let's talk about when you meet a guy and you're into him and he's into you. That's a mutual thing. It's already established, okay? But let's talk about the first time you guys kiss.
Wow.
Okay? Now, I read you as somebody that sees the situation where it's, quiet. It almost seems like you're alone together, even though you're in a crowd of people or whatever it might be. And you're the one that kind of takes him by the back of the neck and kind of charges, pulls him right in into your mouth.
Well,
like
I sat on his face.
Whoa.
Get over here.
But prove me wrong. What is a story of the first kiss you've had with your boyfriend or whatever? Like what was the scenario?
What was it like?
Oh my gosh, you know
and
what?
what is your preference?
Wow. My preference is to sit on their face. I'm just kidding.
After eating many beans. That's wild.
Oh my gosh, I kid. You know what? I don't think I have a particular instance where I'm like, oh my god, that first kiss was magical. It was like what I ever always dreamed of. It was never like a movie. I think it was just, and maybe the reason why I don't remember a particular moment is because it happened so organically.
And you were like blackout drunk.
Right, yeah.
That was the first time,
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
It was wild because it must have been at the frat house.
Whoa. I'm not talking about your first kiss ever.
I remember that. Yeah, I was there.
Oh my god, you were there.
Yeah.
You were filming. That's great.
So let me get it.
So, do you remember the movie Hitch?
Yeah.
Right? That cheesy ass movie with Will Smith and Eva Mendes.
Cheesy.
Whoa.
Be careful.
So, in that movie, he gives that rule. You go 90% in, and she comes in 10% to meet you.
Oh yeah.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
Like, do you like that sort of
rules?
Do you, or even like aggression? Is that aggressive for a guy to like come in or to take initiative? Do you like that initiative? These days I feel like it's a little bit tricky for men that are trying to date and find these right times to do things. That they're like, oh shoot, am I gonna get canceled? Or can I go in, or what's going on here? So give a little set of rules for how guys should be doing this.
You know what? When you were saying that, I kind of remembered a lot of the very fond and positive moments of a first kiss, a first kiss between the guys I've dated. I think they asked me. They asked for my consent.
Right.
And I was like, oh damn. Yeah, you can kiss me, or like, yeah, we can kiss, and it was just like a very.
He's like, oh, how much tongue?
So right now it's like
25% tongue, or and yeah, I mean, like.
So can I go longer?
Should we time this so I get the full 30 seconds?
stopwatch out. It's like ready. Go.
Can I story this?
Yeah, a lot of times, I remember. I think what I was very, very impressed about was, and what I thought was sweet, and maybe it's because we're just not used to being asked for consent, which I don't say that in a negative way. It's just, it's like, when we feel the chemistry, oftentimes, like you guys probably know too, when you feel the chemistry, it's like, okay, I'm just going to go for it. And I don't think not asking for consent in that type of moment, when you're like totally there and like both people are obviously in it, like consent, I don't think is always, like verbal consent is not always needed for like a first kiss type thing.
Oh yeah.
You're kind of saying like you communicate with more than just your words.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to pick up the cues though. You can't just be like, oh, she's clearly not into me. Got to get it in.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes I would say more often than not, especially on like the first date, because now we're talking about first date, which is different than first kiss, because you would have been on this date maybe for a couple times, depending on like your preferences. But then the first date, like some guys and some girls have like a no kiss on first date rule. And then if the guy or the girl reads that situation wrong, then that's like already weird. Like, oh, you came in for the first date, but like I don't kiss on the first date, you know? And then it gets awkward.
That would be super awkward.
Yeah.
Especially when the entire situation sets itself up with like so much chemistry.
Yeah.
It's the right time.
Yeah.
You know, like she's jangling her keys, just kind of waiting around. You go in, she's like, "Oh, I have a rule."
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And would you guys, now I'm going to pass the ball back to you and ask, when you have a great time and clearly the chemistry is like fire and it's like literally you guys are most likely going to kiss. And then she comes up and says like, I have a rule. Like, what is your take on that? Is it more on the side of, oh, she's like prude, or oh, she's trying to show that she has rules, or oh, she's playing hard to get? Like, how do you guys interpret that?
No, I would just be like, okay. I would just be cool with it, I think, just in general.
And it wouldn't cause any like awkwardness. It's just like, oh, okay, I'll just respect that, I guess, and walk away.
I think it's important to respect that actually,
yeah,
because
I don't think I'd have a problem with that.
if a guy were to be thinking like, I want what I want, so I want to kiss her, and I'm still thinking about what I want after she says like, I have a rule, then you're not dating to see if she's a good match for you. You're dating to see if you can get far with a girl. So like, let's say I date this girl and I really like her and we hit it off. Then hitting it off means you like her personality, you like her presence, you know, you like her being around you. More, you know, like you like her physical attributes as well, but then obviously you like something else about it.
Yeah.
So when she says, we're not going to get physical right now, and you still like something that's not physical, then shouldn't that mean, you know, you would respect that? You know, like,
It should.
yeah. And if you're a confident man, then you would probably think like, oh, okay, I get it. She's doing that because she wants to make sure this is something real, you know, not because she's being prude, not because she's trying to play hard to get. She's trying to test whether or not I have the right intentions in some ways, indirectly. Is this guy just trying to get in my pants, or is he really liking me?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's
We do do
legit.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
That's great.
Well, that was a great episode, guys.
I do feel comforted. And
Yeah.
that there are guys with good heads on their shoulders.
Well, I think, you know, like, of course, that's the correct answer to say. You know, we're recording this, so I have to say that. But like, if this wasn't being recorded, I honestly would feel that way because, like, if you, yeah, because like, you know, if you are on a date, I know there's a lot of guys on dates, especially with dating apps and stuff like that. You know, like, I get it. Guys want to go and hook up. Girls want to go out and hook up too.
Yep.
But if somebody is looking for something real, okay, it's a different weird situation if the girl's like, I don't kiss on the first date, but she's just trying to hook up. Like, I don't know what that is. What kind of game are you playing here? But like,
Just down there, not up here.
my upper lips don't kiss on the first date. But you know, like if it's something serious, like she's trying to look for something that is substantial, you know, that moves forward into a future of some sort, then hopefully she meets a guy that has the same type of parallel mindset. And to test that, like, how do you test that? It's so tactless to be like, are you looking for something serious? Like, when are you trying to get married?
Yeah.
And it's just like, what? You want me to run away now? You know, it's like, or do you want to kind of set it up where it's indirectly like pushing back and forth and seeing where he stands? Because actions speak louder than words.
Yeah, totally.
You ask a guy, are you looking for something serious? 99% of the guys are going to be like, yeah. Yeah, I mean, if it's the right match, yeah.
Right,
I'm looking for something serious. They're not looking for something serious until they
Show it.
find someone they deem in some ways like worthy of all their time and attention, you know, and women are doing the same thing. They're
Right.
trying to find someone that's worthy of their time and attention. So there's different ways of going about finding out what that is, and you got to respect that.
So, but do you guys? Cause I think we touched on this like a couple episodes ago or like a while ago. But like those dating apps, is that the best way? Because like, I don't know. Like I've never used Tinder, but I feel like that's what I've heard is like that's the hookup app. You know. So like, is there like a better app for more like serious stuff? Like, like I don't know.
I feel like that's a hard question because I know two different couples that got married from Tinder. You know, so like, doesn't that say something about the intention of the people that are on whatever app they choose to be on?
That's true.
You know,
Or the hookup was good.
I just wanted to hook up, but damn.
Never.
It was the best. We got married the next day.
Yeah, I think intention is everything because, like you said, there are a lot of girls who are looking to hook up. So a ton of guys too. And more than not, I think hookup stories are the easiest on dating apps because it is literally just like an exchange of words, like, and then what do you want out of this? It's like, okay, well, you don't want to come over at 3. That's fine.
And sex
Or,
sells.
and what?
Sex sells.
Right. Yeah. And it's literally all physical because you look at the person's profile and you swipe left or right, and that's kind of like what sparks it.
Yeah.
So, of course, that physical attraction's there. But then I think the intent, as Sam was saying, like, do you take the conversation to another level off the app onto the phones? And then do you take it from like iMessage or, WhatsApp or whatever to a phone call? And then during these times, do you guys take the time to FaceTime or Google Hangouts, whatever, Zoom? And then off of that, do you trust each other enough now to meet in person? There's so many layers and so many intentions, but I think intention is key.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's a dangerous world we live in. Like you can never know the intention of somebody else. And I would even go further to say that Tinder and these apps are not just physical. It's not just to look for someone that they can hook up with. It's actually deeper. It's like, it's a form of selfishness, I almost feel like. Like you look through these pictures of people, you don't really see them as people with lives that have parents, that have family, that have all these dreams and goals. You see them as merchandise almost.
Yeah.
And then you
you're like
flip
shopping.
through. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And then when you
Market.
find someone that you deem worthy of a match, then you go and find out how much of your ego can be, swollen by their words of kindness or whatever. You see everything through the lens of what can they do for me,
That's so
And that's what
And
social media
dangerous.
is, kind of.
Yeah.
A lot of it, you download it for that self-worth aspect.
Self-worth, tying your self-worth to what kind of affirmation you can glean from other people.
Yeah.
It's so sad because kids are growing up in this age, and like, because
Yeah.
I do research on this because like that's like part of my job. But then like they were doing this one thing where they did a scenario about what it was like back in like even just like the 2000s, right? Where like a kid is at school and then like there's like a puddle and like he slips and falls, but then if it was back in like the 2000s or the 90s or whatever, it's like he's embarrassed for that moment, but then that's it. It's done.
Yeah.
Right. But then like nowadays, like it's like a person's like watching, he's like, oh, there's a puddle there, and I've seen like a couple kids slip and fall there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get my phone and get ready, and then the kid
Oh,
slips
wow.
and falls and records it and then posts it, and then that kid has that embarrassing moment like
Forever.
and like everyone's making fun of that kid for that, and like now that kid is like super depressed. So it's just like this world that we live in
Yeah.
at this time is just scary. Like I was like, man, if that high school and junior high seems like a minefield of terror,
Yeah.
and like, yeah, yes, sorry.
I wish I was a little bit more well versed in the cyberbullying aspect of things because the internet is a very dark and scary place. But I think we've come to a place, and this is just my opinion. We've kind of come to a place where like social media has now, we know all the big like players like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all like they know how the algorithm works. They know how like people's how they feed people and consumers. And now I feel like cyberbullying, yes, while it's still a problem and it's still going to be a problem as long as social media exists, I still feel like people are figuring out new ways to introduce or incorporate good and positivity into social media, whether it's, from like a company perspective where you want to like show your brand and how it's tied to, like doing good or whatever, or like someone filming a homeless person getting fed or whatever it is, I have faith that I think social media is going to take somewhat of a different turn. I'm not going to say all the cyberbullying is going to ever go away, but I do think that we're going to have a better handle on it.
Yeah, because we're in a pretty
No pun
weird
intended.
transition, like not transition, but then like everything is new-ish. Like it's been around for a while
Yeah,
now, but
exactly.
like it's still new-ish, and like standards haven't really been established. Like what is acceptable or like what is like the norm, and like there are those, especially in kids and stuff like that. They see it, they know what like. If you see your parents on the phone all the time, like that's what you're gonna kind of want to do, and then you're gonna take that, and then you're gonna do whatever you do with it. But then like, yeah, I mean, I think once like a more standard of like how this everything like, because back in the day, TV was like the evil, and then before that, even reading was like considered like bad, like, oh, stop, you get your eyes off those books, kind of thing. It's like, well, that's like way back, like hundreds of years ago. But like, so like everything is everything that's new, it seems bad at first, right? Like it's like there are people that will always think that it's a bad thing, right? And of course there are drawbacks, but I think there's at some point there's going to become some kind of equilibrium where it's like, okay, now it's just part of life and we know how to live with it. But we're just not there yet, so it's just going to get there at some point.
I feel like cyberbullying is going to be there forever.
Forever.
Well, it's because bullying will be there forever. So
And also because the Constitution, like the freedom of speech, like
right.
you can't not allow it.
Yeah.
Like in America, you can't just not allow that, like expression of how you feel. And it's always going to exist because the freedom to do that is there, and also the lack of accountability. People making these individual accounts with their face not on there, you can't find out who these people are. And so they have that anonymity, and they can troll and say all these negative things without receiving any backlash. And so really, I feel like the recipients of bullying, the potential recipients of this type of bullying, are the ones that have the choice. It's always going to be there, but will you be there to see it happen? Like, should people really be spending all that time on Instagram looking through their comments? You have the freedom to do so, but just know that there's no law against cyberbullying, and there probably won't be. So you might as well not look at it. I've never seen Social Dilemma on Netflix. I know it's a huge documentary right now. A lot of people are watching it. I'm sure there's a lot of neat statistics and whatnot. And I think I'm going to watch it sometime soon. But I'd imagine it's something about how, negatively society has been impacted through social media,
Hit it on the nail.
Yeah. That very general statement. Hit it right on the nail.
Yeah.
I actually saw, I think it was today, I saw this chef in Philadelphia. His name is Chris. He's he got big on TikTok actually. This Korean guy who he just makes fried rice with ramen, just really just comfort food, and he got pretty big. Like he has over I want to say 200,000 followers. Well, anyways, a fan basically told him, "Hey, stop acting like the way you are. Stop talking. Why are you pretending to talk like that? Talk like your people, And I'm not your people, so I don't appreciate you talking like that." And he just has a Philadelphia accent, whatever that is, And he was just saying, but apparently this guy or this fan, this viewer basically said you're upsetting me. You obviously have some deep hurt because you have to try to be someone you're not. Be yourself. And he was livid, because this is literally how he talks. That's how only thing he knows. He's not even good at speaking Korean.
Yeah.
So he's just so he did a video response to it, and I just saw it, and he basically just says, fuck you, you have no idea, who are you? So he's like, how do you want me to talk? All Korean accent and stuff like that. He's like, is that how you want me to talk? Is that what you think I should be like? Well, screw you, and I saw that and I was like, wow, there's so much negativity on the internet, and you can't respond to everybody.
Yeah.
But there are times where the line definitely does cross, and you have to speak for others,
Yeah.
And even as a songwriter and a producer, I read the comments. I know a lot of people say, well, you shouldn't read all the comments, and I do think that too. I don't think you should. I like to believe that over the years, I think I'm more okay just reading even the negative comments and things like that, just to kind of see where I can improve, and I kind of use it as more fuel. But it gets nasty. It gets really nasty. And
do you want to share what's the worst thing?
I think someone said that if the song that you wrote for this particular artist that obviously they're a huge fan of, they're like, if it's bad, I'm gonna kill you. I hope you die if it's bad. And I was just like, whoa, I don't know who this person is, but
my gosh.
that's a whole lot of things to say to someone you just.
That's a hardcore statement.
Yeah, so I mean, it gets bad.
I want to hear their songs.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I mean, there are so many things where I look at and I think it's pretty overboard, but it's nothing. And sometimes I just have some fun with it, you know, and like, and if someone says something, I'll like it on Twitter, and they'll like, oh, like the producer just liked it, and they'll screen cap it and try to, you know, tell their friends that they liked it, and then, you know, and they're like, oh man, like I totally just got shut down by a like from him, because I wouldn't say anything, I would just like it, you know.
They just want attention.
Yeah, they want attention, you know, and I give a little attention, you know, but at the end of the day, I'll DM them later. I was like, hey, I just appreciate you for listening, you know, even if you don't like it, I thank you for that, you know. So it's more of that kind of interaction. I'm not gonna sit there and argue and, you know, fight with people with their own opinions, but they are hurtful. I mean, you know, and there's a lot of things that people say without really thinking or thinking too deep into it, but yeah.
Words cut deep.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like one of my TikTok videos, it went viral. And
which one?
it's this like Coca-Cola one.
I think I've seen it.
It's silly.
Oh,
But
I love it. By the way, I like Jen and I would sit there and go through all her TikTok videos.
Oh my God,
and we'd just like
so
laugh.
embarrassing.
Like this is the best. Like
Okay, I'm gonna find it.
Oh my
can you just
God.
plug your TikTok? Because I think it's one of the funniest TikTok pages.
wait, no.
Just
Say
plug
it.
it.
What is
It's
it?
gonna show up here, okay?
Yeah.
This is an ad. Give me a second.
Yo, we'll put it up somewhere
Yeah.
here. Right?
What is it?
Here.
Stop it, Tree Town. What is that? Okay, sorry. Continue talking about it.
Yeah, so it's just this Coca-Cola video that I did. It's a lip syncing video.
Which one is it?
Oh my God, it's this one. The one it has 4.2.
Oh shoot!
4.2 million?
Dang.
Say Coca-Cola without your lips touching.
Oh, I've seen this one. Yes.
So say it normal.
Coca-Cola.
Your lips never touch, fool.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, I've seen that. I saw it when you first posted
Oh,
it.
thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for the love. Okay, so before that, you know, fun dip and high moment, I'm gonna bring it back down low. I'm just kidding. Neutral, because TikTok, I use it for like an escape to just be like funny and entertain. And one time it got viral, and I would receive like a lot of likes and a lot of comments, and there would be some comments that would be so like encouraging and so like, oh my God, haha, so funny. They would tag their friends, more eyeballs go on it, and then I get more views. And then there would be like one or two comments I would see like every other day that would say something like, "You're so stupid. Why can't you say it?" And it's clearly a joking video.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't take it personally, because I'm literally just entertaining, and like if that person has a problem with it, then you don't have a sense of humor. But that's just one video of mine. There are so many people on TikTok, so many people on social media that will get hate. And I mean, there's this one girl who creates cake, and she got famous because her cakes got like really, really pretty, and you know, like she's kind of showing off her talent. And it's a really beautiful talent, and she's like 16 or something, and people would hate on her cake designs. Yeah, it's so sad. And you know, when you're just trying to use an outlet, especially in the time of COVID, to you know, showcase your talents and stuff, and then you receive some kind of dose of like virality, and like you're exposed to that, you're also exposed to a lot of hate. And no one trains you for that. Like nobody tells you, hey, how to handle hate comments, how to handle the haters. Like no one taught you, Joe, how to handle those hate comments. You just kind of have to like filter it out yourself. And like there are unfortunately people who just don't know how to handle it, and that's why it's like such a dark place for people, and it's really sad.
Spiral.
Yeah,
sure.
it is such a spiral.
And one thing's for sure, like if you look at that cake video and the hating comments underneath, I guarantee, and I haven't even seen the video, I guarantee none of those comments are bakers.
Right.
You know? It's like, it would be understandable if there's like this rival baker that was trying to make a better cake. It's like, I've made better than that before. Check out my page, blah, 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 you know? But then it's not even that. It's just some random person
They're just mad.
that
Yeah.
just doesn't like the fact that this person's excellent at making cakes and they can't do anything.
And a hate bandwagon is so much easier to hop on than to give praise.
Right.
Sucks.
I mean, you see that in sports, like even
Yeah.
outside of social media, you know, you just see that like the fans of a certain team will like rag on another, you know, like, and it's accepted because it's a decades long tradition, but it's bled into this like thing where any sort of content you put up,
Yep.
everyone is tribal about it. You have to take a side now. Do you hate it or do you love it? Like, why
Right.
can't it just be there? You know, it's like just understand that not everything on Instagram is for your eyes. And if you come across it, it's like it's kind of like when you're walking through a fair or like a carnival or something, and there's like someone doing street shows or street magic, and it's like it's there for everyone to see. But if you're not gonna see it, you're not gonna be like, "That's terrible," and you like walk. You just walk away.
Yeah.
You just move on to the next
Yeah,
thing.
totally.
And that's kind of what these posts are. If it's not for you, you don't have to take the 10 seconds to write a comment.
Right. Yeah.
You could just flip it and go to the next one, you know. But then I feel like maybe it's too new for people to be acclimated to that type of mindset, you know, that when it shows up, it's not really for your eyes.
Right.
It's just an algorithm.
Well,
you
we're
know?
really only limited to a button. On Instagram, it's the like button. And then on Facebook, it's the 5 emotions that, you know, you either laugh, you either get angry, you love, or there's like one
Excited
other one.
or something, yeah.
Excited, yeah. So we're now like computerized to 5 emotions to praise or scold that one person's opinion on whatever it is or their content. And that's what's frustrating because I actually have quite a few emotions outside of the emojis.
True.
Do
Yeah.
you?
Sometimes my emotions like Clover, salsa dancer, +sign, lightning. And then it's like, whoa, you know,
Yeah.
like what is she doing? So
That's interesting. Like, I wonder if the limitation of the emojis you can use causes people to just like default to angry.
yeah.
What if there was like comments were turned off and you could only do like a set of like 10 emojis and you could just pick one of those? Would that be better?
I mean, yeah, because words. in
I think
general-
if there was more, like if there was like a emoji for horny, like it would save others from trouble.
That's eggplant. That's the eggplant.
It would just be a photo of my
Or
face.
the
I'm just
peach.
like,
Horny Sam's face.
Or the devil.
oh yeah, the purple devil
Oh,
face.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like if you're gonna meet up with a friend and you know there's a horny emoji, it's like I'm gonna stay in tonight. Don't think I'm gonna go out. You know?
There
Can
you
you
go.
imagine if you like post like your girls' brunch and then like someone, excuse me, like what is so about these poached eggs?
Yeah,
actually
maybe
kinda
the
funny.
horny emoji isn't the best option, but it would be the most accurate option that most people would choose.
Right.
Yeah. Most people on social media are horny.
But then I feel like that would be less toxic.
Yeah.
Like that
So
was
we're
the
just
option.
limited to emojis.
Yeah. But they would find a way.
What is an emoji that is not on Apple keyboard or Google keyboard right now that we need?
Ooh.
Are chicken nuggets on there?
Yeah,
They-
it is.
Really?
Sure?
I
You
think
sure?
so. I'm pretty sure.
Hold on,
Yeah.
let me confirm. Because
Because like I use
Why is that a common theme? Like you're always eating chicken nuggets?
well, it's just like I appreciate the chicken
there's a
nuggets.
lot of different types of foods on there for sure.
Yeah.
Like I feel like a nugget sometimes.
Um,
No, it's not on there.
is there
not?
like the one that I don't know if there's
Drumstick
any one
is on
that
there.
I've like tried to like look for that I haven't because now that you can do like gifs or gifs.
Oh, yeah.
So now that you can do there's so many
Yeah,
options now.
I do-
I feel like
I
I'm
do
not
that.
limited
Yeah.
to anything. Like I can find
Yeah.
whatever I need
Are you
to
guys
say.
okay with when you text somebody and instead of them texting like a message back, they just do a thumbs up? Because some people don't like that. They think it's just such a
It's like a cop out.
yeah, it's a cop out or it's like there's not enough effort
Lazy.
into
It's
yeah.
lazy.
It's some people think it's better that they don't respond at all than to give you a thumbs up because you put in like a lot of thought into let's say writing a message and then they give you a thumbs up. It's like
Yeah.
okay, like, so
I guess it depends on how long the message was that
Right.
was sent initially. Because if
Right.
it was like crafted, and
Yeah.
you could tell, then yeah, you should probably do some sort of
Yeah.
like
Back.
legit response. It doesn't need to be like crazy long.
Yeah.
But then like something like, so yeah, that's like, write something. But
Right.
If it's like, so you want to go out tonight and then thumbs up, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah.
Depends on what your expectations are. All things depend on what your expectations are.
That's true.
Set expectations.
Yeah.
Manage expectations.
Exactly. You got to manage your expectations. Like if you are texting somebody and you do not like talking on the phone and you want all your conversations to take place on text, you can't expect that everyone feels that way.
Right.
Some people would rather actually talk out a conversation in real time and text the things that are just technical, So don't be disappointed if somebody gives you just a thumbs down or
That's
whatever.
why, that's why communication is key. Because
Yes,
like
it
you need
is.
to relay that. And then if you can relay that in like because like once again the expectations thing, if your expectation is something and then it just keeps on not happening, it'll just piss you off, right? But then if you communicate that, then the other person knows, and then something can be worked out. But then a lot of times people just expect the other person to know what you're thinking, and they don't communicate.
We are
that.
not mind readers.
So it goes further to even think about like social media. Like when you post something, okay, realistically, everyone that posts something has an expectation.
Yeah.
They expect to receive a certain amount of likes. They expect for this type of person to appreciate it, maybe a specific person to comment on it. But like, should that be changed? Like, why are people receiving so much depression from social media? You know, through comparison and all that, but also like they want affirmation through likes. They want people to like what they put out. Is there something wrong with that expectation?
Instant gratification is what I think of, and expecting something instantly is what we've been taught in the last decade through the platforms that we have been digitally, transitioning into. So no, I don't think. I mean, yes, is it wrong that you only seek? It's wrong if you only seek affirmation from that.
Yeah.
But if you do it and you seek affirmation elsewhere, that's a little bit more valuable. Then no, I don't think it's.
Because like I think it's dangerous to expect it. Because like if you don't get it, then you can spiral, right? So like some people can handle more than others, obviously, but then like I think it's just a dangerous idea. Like I need this many likes.
Yeah.
My identity is
It's
like
a drug.
linked. Yeah.
It becomes a
it's
drug.
like because like every like becomes like it releases endorphins. Like that's why it's so scary for kids because they can't control that.
Yeah.
They have a lot harder time like understanding that this is happening to them.
It's like the meter that tells them whether they matter or not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then that's scary for a young kid. Like when you're an adult and you can handle this a little bit better, but even adults can't handle it that well either. So like a young kid definitely can't handle it. So it's I'm gonna try to keep my kids off social media for as long
In the
as
social dilemma,
humanly possible.
they were saying that there was a girl who used to sit at a lunch table with other girls, and then one day she was shunned because she didn't get enough likes on her.
Wow.
That's
so
so jacked.
Very,
Dude, that's
very
like that
sad.
Black Mirror episode. Did you guys see Black Mirror?
Oh yeah, the
That
one where the status of
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's how it is with like
Dang.
a lot of industries now. Like where you have to have X amount of likes
That's
to
true.
be considered
You can't
for
be
a
a
role.
model
Yeah.
unless like you have like this many followers.
Yeah, you
Like,
can't
it's
have
like
a blue check
50,000.
mark and be verified without having the
Right.
appropriate
So like
credentials.
yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. So it actually is happening. Oh.
It's like you're literally being verified to the public eye whether or not you are legitimate enough with a blue check mark.
What is the
That's
criteria
scary.
for that?
You have to have X amount of followers.
Is that
X
what it
amount
is?
of
I don't know if it's necessarily
Because
followers.
I heard it's not just followers.
It's
like,
more like if you're on articles, if you're on if you're on the web,
Yeah.
it's just if there's more presence out there that where you're making an impact, and then they consider you as like verified.
because like if
Yeah.
you could be like a brand new user to Instagram,
Yeah.
and then immediately get verified because of who you are.
Yeah. I think it depends on how you set up your profile. So like if you say that you are like in the beginning when you set up like what kind of business are you or what kind of it's for entertainment or it's for whatever, like you have to fill that in, and I think that helps generate it. But I mean I don't know. I actually want to know now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a little bit dangerous, isn't it? Like just trying to find like whatever you're doing, whatever you're posting, some people have an angle on what they're trying to post. They're trying to post specific things, trying to gather like followers for a specific subject or whatever. But if you think that starts as a passion, right? It starts
Yeah.
as like a personal hobby or whatever.
Yeah.
But then it might easily be infiltrated by the ideas of like I need to get more likes. Like what do I have to do? Like what kind of hashtags do I have to put in? Like of course, if that's your aim, that's great. But if your mindset starts changing,
If your
where-
identity gets linked to that,
then it's like it's no longer fun.
yeah,
That's what it is.
and it's scary. That's a scary place to be in.
And like how sad is it when Instagram is not used for fun anymore?
Well, people say that it's like the new LinkedIn now, where
Yeah.
you put your best pictures and photos, and that's like how you brand yourself.
Right.
I'm guilty of it. That's how I brand myself. My TikTok is way uglier. Like I have videos of me with 17 chins that I'm quite proud of actually, but not on Instagram. I would never post that shit on Instagram.
Interesting.
That's like I'm not saying that's sad, but
No,
the
it is
concept
sad.
is sad. The concept is sad. It's like because when I started my Instagram profile, like it was for fun. I'm gonna post it. There's gonna be 10 people that see it, and they're all my friends. For some reason, only 2 of them like it. I'm gonna call each of them, call the rest of the 8 guys, like, what the hell, man? I was like, I took this picture with you. Like, why don't you like it? But like, it was just for fun, you know. And then now it's like this algorithm thing. Now it's like, oh, how do I brand myself? Oh, if I put this up, are people gonna see me as this? And
It's
you know.
like, what time should I post it? You know, how many
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
hashtags do I need? Which people do I tag
Yeah.
and stuff?
Yeah, and all those things are like real too. I'm not saying those are like fake things, but like to care about those things so much that you lose the joy for like what
Right.
Instagram even is, just like sharing photos, just sharing your life. It's kind of like the Facebook status update, you know, from like a while back. You just like say one line of what you're thinking about or whatever, and people can like it. Like it used to be that,
Yeah.
and now it's like some. I mean, it's it's money.
Very, very different.
It's money.
It's all
Yeah,
money.
it's
corporate
business.
stuff. Yeah.
But for the consumers, it's definitely like an ego, like, boost, whatever it is.
100%.
Because, I mean, even when, let's say, someone is saying they're going to go off of Facebook, they'll announce it. They'll put it on a status and say, hey, I'm going to leave next week.
Yeah.
It's like, then if you're going to shut off your thing, why didn't you just do it? Why did you have
Right.
to tell everybody? What was the point of that? And they want people to know, I'm going off of Facebook.
That's interesting.
As I think it's just always a tool or a way for people to try to connect with them even when they're going to go off of Facebook,
Yeah.
social media, which is interesting.
Yeah.
If this gives any freedom to anybody, just know that despite however many Instagram followers you have, you don't matter. You don't really matter, you know? Just find freedom in that.
So
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Like even the most famous people in the world,
Yeah.
like they mean nothing after a while.
You know what?
Not to the public, but you
Right.
should find value in yourself
Yeah.
always and the people around you, because you do matter to yourself and to the people around you for sure. But
Your circle.
your public life will die. Everyone's public life will die.
Billie Eilish, she had a photo of her that was not so flattering, but that was her real and true self, and that was beautiful. And someone, of course, found the opportunity to hate on it. And she was interviewed, or people were asking her questions during her like Q&A on Instagram, and someone was like, "Hey, like, how do you feel about that photo of you? Like,
Shaming her.
yeah, like, how do you feel about being shamed? Whatever it was." And her answer was literally just, honestly, and I'm not even trying to be funny, but I just think about how I'm going to die one day. And essentially she was saying, like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because to your point, how we're all just going to die.
Yeah, and that's wise because you can people can argue like, is that a beautiful photo of her or is it not? And if it's like people want to empower her, yeah, it is because she's natural and she's brave to put that up. On the other hand, objectively, is she beautiful in that picture? Some people would say probably not. But what she's saying is like, it doesn't matter.
Right, right.
Like she's saying like that person's opinion of how ugly he thinks she is or she thinks she is, that also doesn't matter.
Right, yeah.
You know.
None of that
And
matters.
if people saw it that way, people will be posting a lot more. People will be hating a lot more. But then the reception to that type of hate will be less damaging. You know.
I think the idea of finding freedom in these things where we just let it go and our lives would just open up to just so much more happiness is the world we live in today. Because I think, like, imagine just like if this is something I'm guilty of. For instance, if I see something, if I'm eating something, I want to take a picture of it. But like somewhere in a third world country, I'm sure like they'll see a drawing or they'll see something and they'll just toss it because they like to just remember it in that moment and move on,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I find that really I respect that because for me, for whatever reason, I want to take a picture of it and hold on to it, thinking that I'm going to look back to this picture and feel those moments again, right? And I'm not going to visit those pictures
No.
again. I just store it in a hard drive and it makes me feel good that it's in there
Yeah.
somewhere and my day would be ruined if that hard drive crashed, but why do we rely on these things so much? And
Yeah.
I think if we were able to let go of these things, maybe there will be less depression and anxiety and all these things because
I think you're right, because like I think it was that one podcast with David Cho. Where,
Yeah.
like he talks about he goes to like be in Africa or in the Congo or something or somewhere where he goes to like this tribe out there, right? And like the people out there, they hunt for their food, right? They
Yeah.
literally like have bows and arrows and hunt for their food, but they're like the happiest people, right? There's no depression, there's no suicide. Like that, the whole concept of suicide is like the craziest thing to them. Like, why would anyone kill them?
he asked like, what do you think of America.
Yeah, it's like, why don't you want to come to America?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
like,
they were
isn't that isn't that the place where people kill themselves?
yeah, it's like,
that's
why would we want to do that? So like, and it's like, yeah, like that's true. It's like if you live in a life where that stuff is not important, like you focus on the important things, and that's like the people around you. And like, we do live in this connected world right now where everything is just at our fingertips, which has so many benefits.
Yeah.
Don't get us, there's so many benefits, but it's also, there's so many possible drawbacks that you need to be careful about, because it can go very wrong very fast.
Yeah.
I think like going off of that, it's kind of, to me, it seems like the big problem is the overabundance of options. It's kind of like, I need a picture of that to store in my hard drive to keep it so I have the option to look at it later on if I want to. But if it gets destroyed, I don't have that option, so I'm going to be sad. It's like, people really want options. When you go get a nice car, why is it nice? Because it has full options. Why do you have Netflix? Because you have all these options. Half the time on Netflix, I just don't watch anything because I'm like, this is too much. And then I just fall asleep.
Yeah.
Like, I literally don't even watch something because there's 100 options. Sometimes I feel like people are happier when there's less options. And that goes against kind of like the American style of thinking. It's like you want to pursue your happiness. That means you should have options. So you can choose whatever you think is the right thing for you. Sometimes the right thing for you might be the best you make of a situation that's given to you.
Yeah.
You know, instead of you having to choose.
But that should be all the time. Like, you should always make the best of the situation, because like everyone has it bad sometimes, you know. But then and then that's where social media gets dangerous. Like, well, look at the life that this guy's leading. This is like this. There's so much better here. Like, I want
Comparison,
that. Yeah. And then it's just, that's where there's so many dangers.
But
like,
see,
this is all the research I do.
That's why when you talk about the idea of freedom in marriage, people are like, no, there's freedom in being single and having options. But that's exactly right. When you start cutting out those options, there is actually freedom in letting those things go. You know, and that's what I think it means to have that kind of freedom when you have a relationship where there is commitment, when there is that effort, you know. And I think marriage is something that people should not be afraid of. I think there's especially like the climate of how people are living today, and the things that they fall into. It's more options that are better, you know. And I think when there are more options, you go to a restaurant and you look at the menu and there are millions of options. That's not what I want. I want to go to a restaurant where I know what I want to eat and they have the best, you know, dish for that.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, we kind of fall like into this false narrative of how more options is better.
Trader Joe's is successful because they have limited options.
Yeah.
They literally have, it's like a small store of like 2 different flavors of that one cracker, or maybe just one. I think it's just like one like cheddar rockets, and that's like their one Cheez-Its, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then you go to Ralph's and then you have like Cheez-Its sharp cheddar, Cheez-Its duo,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Cheez-Its white cheddar duo, and it's like, what? I want it all.
And even like In-N-Out,
Right.
one of the most successful chains. They basically serve the same kind of thing, just with more meat or like with a sauce on it or something, you know. But like, it's the same.
Or Taco Bell, different layers. Have the same thing, you know.
So In-N-Out's like my favorite. You guys didn't have that in Chicago, right?
Portillo's.
Portillo's, which is also delicious.
Yeah.
But I've only had the California version Portillo's. It was still good, but I've heard that it's not as
Buena
good.
Park.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's
Actually,
good.
no. I've also been to the one in Phoenix, because there's a Portillo's in Phoenix.
Oh, really?
too. Yeah.
Huh.
Nice.
So it was good. It's very good.
You know what this whole conversation makes me think of is like, you know, it sounds like if we all wanted to eat something, we would probably go to the place that is known for that something
Yes.
Yeah.
instead of going to the place that is like okay at everything.
Yes.
You know? So then it makes me wonder and makes me want to ask you guys, like, would you rather be a person who is good, really, really good at one thing, like a pro baller or like a professional singer, but then you're not so good at rollerblading, or you're not so good at storytelling, or like you're just average at everything?
See, the second person you described is me, because I feel like I can do a lot, but I don't excel at any one of those things. Like I'm a little better at one of those things than maybe some of the other things, but like, yeah, I feel like I am that like jack of all trades, master of none.
But
And do you like that?
Oh no,
I don't know.
I think that's what you need. to succeed now, because maybe back in the day you got to be the best, right? That's why like the way you find opportunities, for instance, it's like you have to wake up early in the morning. You got to get your shit done and then go to bed. Like there's a certain way of doing things, and you got to excel in school. You got to do well. Like there was a certain way you got to go to college to have a career. Like that was it. Whereas now it's you got to be able to, like, if you're for instance, if you're an audio engineer, you can't just be good at audio engineer. You got to be good at making websites, so you can put yourself on a website and compete online and really go against some of the top guys that are doing business online. You have to be able to know how to do some producing. You got to be able to know some music theory. You have to know some music theory so you can actually sit there and be productive with the team. Like there's so many things I think where it does help you if you know more. And
versatile.
And I think an example of that is like what works in K-pop, which is multiple, like 9-member, 7-member groups. Like BTS, there's what, 7, and they all have different personalities, I would imagine, and everybody kind of gravitates towards something that they like.
It's just one person with different masks.
But I think that that in those type of scenarios, like if you're competing and you want to obviously it's not that they're just good at one thing, but they show versatility in just what they're selling. So in that kind of sense, like that works for sure. But from more of like a mindset of like how do I move into something with freedom and those type of things, I think you got to lessen those options.
Yeah, like whether you want to be good at something or many things is different from what's going to make you happy. Like if you are legitimately passionate about multiple things, then you should pursue those things. But then when it comes to like your living life, then like more options doesn't mean it's going to be like, oh, I'm so happy I have more options now,
Yeah. Because like when I think of like what you were talking about with like experts, right? And like the documentary Jiro Dreams of Sushi, right? That guy is an expert at sushi, right? So his whole life he dedicated to sushi. And I feel like a lot of Japanese culture is like that, where it's just like dedicate to one thing and perfect this craft to like the fullest, And they find fulfillment in that, right? Even if it's something like, it may seem dumb, right? But then it's like making scissors. Like I watched this other documentary about this guy who makes bonsai tree scissors, right? And it's like such a specific thing, right?
Not even bonsai trees, but
it's like scissors to cut bonsai trees. Like that's like what he's doing, but like he's so good at it, right? And then the scissors that he makes are like the most highly sought after, most finely crafted scissors for bonsai trees.
For scrapbooking. Oh,
but then like he's like, so that's his life and he loves it, and like he's like had this focus, right? And I think about that, I'm like, I wish I had that. Like I do long for something that I want like have one focus and just gone all in on. I don't think my personality is like, I don't think my personality lends itself to that.
Like you like variety.
It's not even just about variety. I'm interested in so many topics that I get bored of one thing after a while, and then I need to move on to something. I actually might go back to it at some point, but I'll get bored of it after a while, and I need to do something different. So, but I do really admire that. When I see it, I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like you did it. Like you are a master. Like I don't know how else to call someone that masters something.
Yeah. You're right, master.
I mean, do you think excellence comes naturally? Like,
no.
Because excellence meaning like that laser focus on one subject to achieve.
I think that some people have it naturally where they can focus on that, and then some people need to work at it, which is, I think, the same for everything, though. Like every person is naturally good at something, right? And then needs to work on other things, right? So I don't have that natural focus on something. I'm not like, there's not one thing that I'm uber passionate about that I need to pursue for the rest of my life. Like I have lots of like things that I like, and then I don't know.
Because it makes me think like, someone like Michael Jordan, the greatest of all time, he has this obsession with getting better at basketball, and he achieved 6 rings and all that. And, we look at the documentary, The Last Dance. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
Save
but
The
like,
Last Dance.
Yeah, right.
Julia Stiles. But he you could tell he has a desperation. It's not like I'm passionate about basketball. I love basketball. It's not that. It's like he has a desperation and an anger to like
Obsession.
an obsession
Yeah.
to embarrass his naysayers.
Yeah.
Like it's almost evil.
Yeah.
Like he has a selfishness
His Hall
about
of
him.
Fame
It's like it's
speech was
desperation.
It was uncomfortable.
It was
Yeah.
classless.
Yeah.
He just like
Yeah, he
puts
put
down
down-
people. Like it's not like thank you for this, not that. You know, he does say thank you, but he's also
Screw
like
you, screw
yeah,
you.
screw
Yeah.
this guy.
Wow.
Blah,
Like he
blah, blah. Like,
invited people to tell them.
Oh
off.
my.
yeah, exactly,
Okay.
exactly. So like, and when I see that, I'm like, okay, well, that is one of the mindsets you can have to become excellent, to
Yeah.
be the greatest. You know, like some people like, you know, I feel like Kobe Bryant, maybe not to that extent of evil, but like he has the Mamba mentality. Like he'll do whatever it takes to get to that point. You know, like, and I feel like maybe like almost nobody has the surroundings and environment to cause that sort of desperation. But they have the seed to possibly reach that level of excellence.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
Everyone has potential.
I think it's like, so I actually thought about this a few days ago, and I just sat there thinking about this. But I think so. You either have a mindset, and like we talk about excellence. I think it falls under what I like to call the mindset. Right? You have this mindset where you know that you can be committed to things. You vision it. You want to really push that. You see yourself in that position or that place that you want to get to. So you visualize. So you have this mindset, and then there are people that have the natural ability that just comes to them, or to a certain level where they're able to carry out a certain number of goals that they have in their lives. I think if you look at like basketball, for instance, there are guys that are just naturally gifted and they're very good at basketball to the point where they can make the roster, right? They can get there. But what many of them don't have is this mindset.
Yeah.
Some people have the mindset, but never will have the ability to do it, so, which is most of people, I think, on Earth, because then they go, well, I like the idea. They fall into the idea
Yeah.
of I would like to be on stage and do that, or I would like to try to do that, but it will just never happen. In a rare case, I feel like those two things mesh, where I think is the case for Jordan or Kobe, because it's where the mindset meets the abilities, and then they really push, and it becomes actually this marriage where now you become your new self.
Well, I do think that there is a way to reach another level.
Yeah.
You reach the highest pinnacle of what like is achievable.
The version,
right?
right?
But there is, if you have if you have the drive, but you don't have the natural talent, you still can't achieve. I believe that. Like it's just your path is harder. Your path is gonna be, like there are people that are naturally smart. They just get calculus. They get it. They don't even have to think about it. Just like I get calculus. It's easy, right? But then like others, they can still get that A, but they have to work that much
Really
harder
hard,
for it.
yeah.
But you could still get that. You could still understand it. It'll just take longer. So that is a possibility. You
Right.
can make it there. But like obviously, if you have that drive and you're also naturally good at whatever, then
Right.
you
Yeah.
reach that next level.
Well, the reason why I say this is because time has to be a factor. Because if you're actually able to get to a certain place quicker, then if you're in your prime, let's say you get to it post prime, then it's pointless. You're not going to have that window, And then if it happens before that, then it doesn't matter either. So it's like when it comes to like Jordan or Kobe, like Jordan, if you look at his like career when he was in college or even back when he was in high school, he was never the best player on his team. He was always from the outside, and he worked himself going. Even in college, his coaches said that he has potential. He was never like, oh, this guy is good right now. So he was working towards that, and at some point, that mindset met his ability. And I think for so many people. And this is such a harsh reality, and I really believe this. It's either you have it or you don't. And for the people that don't have it, it doesn't matter how hard you try and you want to believe in it. And I know this is such a encouragement thing that I'm saying, because it's hard to hear that you don't have it. It's like, sorry, but it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I also believe that is the truth.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
everybody on this earth would find a lot more success, and it would be common, not something that's rare.
But I do think that is encouraging in some ways. Going back to our talk about less options, because when you don't have something, when that is accepted, I don't think that means you don't have it for anything else. I
Right.
personally think you have something for something else,
Yeah.
but you don't have this.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So you need to go and find it.
Yeah.
Before time is up.
Yeah.
And that's kind of encouraging. You know, it's like, let's say someone wants to be a professional singer. Well, you're tone deaf. There's no way. There's no way. Okay. You can fake it. You can auto tune. You can do all this stuff, but eventually you're going to be exposed.
Yeah.
So you're not going to have it there. Well, maybe you're a very good instructor though.
Yeah.
On how to do this or that. Maybe you can put up YouTube videos or whatever. You can create a business from that, and you have the business acumen and the fortitude to do all that kind of stuff. Then you should do it. You have that, you know.
And that's one of the actual good things about social media because of social media has opened up things that were not possible
Right.
for a long time.
Yeah.
Like you have these tools. Like your phone is one of the most powerful digital tools of all time. It can do almost like obviously it's not going to do the same thing as like a high quality studio, but the thing is you can do things on there that weren't possible even like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It was impossible.
Yeah, 10 years ago, if you tell your, parents, I'm going to work for TikTok, they'll be like, no. What do you mean TikTok?
Yeah. It's like, or like I'm gonna make a feature film, and like you can actually do, like people have made ones from their phones.
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
And like so you can do it, but it's just like there's no way you could have done that. Like so anyone could do it. Like if you get the new iPhone 12 that comes out, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like
It's such a different time. Like if you can work for TikTok or Netflix, it's a big deal. It's like, whoa, big time. And I think like now that so many things have changed, like you said, more options in that sense.
Yeah.
I think there is freedom in being able to be great at something. You don't have to necessarily be disappointed or be upset or down because you're not necessarily good at this particular thing. You know.
So that it's like the idea of like what you were saying, like having too many options, right? Or like thinking that you can do something that is just not going to happen for you when you cut that out. But the thing is, because of the digital tools that we have available, you can seek something else out much easier. Whereas back in the day, you couldn't.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, it's like a balancing act of what is too much and what is not, and it's great. So yeah.
Yeah.
But one thing is for sure, you can have less talent and a great work ethic, you might make it. You can have the meeting of both, and you are probably going to make it.
Yeah.
If you have the talent and no work ethic, you for sure will not make it.
Right.
Okay, unless you're in high school and you're just talented at calculus and you could pass those tests. But real life is not that.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
real life
not
is you got to
just
go
tests.
and find your path. So, if you have the talent, start building on your work ethic.
Yeah.
Work ethic, I feel like, is key for
Yeah.
everything, which is hard. It's a hard lesson to
Yeah,
learn.
I mean, if the amount of time you don't spend on your craft, that means your competitor, or someone that's right around the corner, is working on theirs, and they're beating you at that game. It's always there, and I think the game doesn't stop for you. And I definitely think that's for sure the case when it comes to even the music industry. Like heavy in the music industry, because there's so many people that wants to get in and get their opportunities, And for those of you guys that don't know, it like even just to become an engineer, right, in the music industry, you have to be an intern somewhere or a runner, and you hope that one day you get promoted, maybe in 2-3 years get promoted as an assistant. So when you work as an assistant, you go into session, what you do is you sit there and you do like you take the food from the interns or runners and you serve it to the artist, and then you just sit there in case they need anything.
Yeah.
But you're a fly on the wall. You just sit there and just see the process. And then one day the engineer gets sick or he's not on his game, and then the artist might look at you and go, "Hey, can you run this? Just run it for me." And then the engineer might do a good job, and I like that kid. Call him up again, and then he might work his way into becoming an engineer for that artist.
Wow.
That process could take 10 years, but it is something that I think having the right mindset, having the right tools, and being ready, when the opportunity comes, is gonna be your luck.
Yeah.
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 For
Yeah.
sure.
But then once again, without work ethic, there's no way.
No.
So yeah, that has to come first.
Yeah.
Work hard, and even if you're not talented, actually, if you're not talented at all, don't work hard. Find what you're talented in first. But if you're a little bit talented in something, work hard, and maybe you'll get someplace. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys there. Thank you for tuning in to Loud Snackers, and we shall see you next week.
Thank you. All right.